Hey boys, it's HarmNone. Today I'm making a little bit of a different video on what I think the next GTA Online update will be, what it will contain, and things like that. Now before we get into the video, I do just want to say that this video is going to be largely speculation, but it is going to have some concrete pointers as to what the next update is likely to contain and be about generally. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, dislike if you don't, subscribe if you're new I guess, and let's go ahead and get into this. And we're going to start off with a question, which is why do I think that there will be a new GTA 5 DLC, even with GTA 6 on the distant horizon? Now first of all, the reason I think that there's going to be a new update is because I think for Rockstar, it's very important for them to keep players engaged with somewhat new content right up until the release of GTA 6, ideally at least. I think that they do want to keep people interested generally in the Grand Theft Auto franchise, but I can also nearly guarantee that they see a massive spike in shark card sales every single time a new DLC drops into GTA Online. So obviously, it's going to be advantageous for them to be releasing DLCs, even if they're not necessarily up to the standard of what Rockstar has previously released. For example, with the Contract DLC, with Cayo Perico, with the Diamond Casino heist, everything like that, After Hours, all of those great DLCs. It doesn't really matter what they drop at this point, because they know that people like you and people like me are going to be playing these DLCs regardless. And now we have a set date for GTA 6 to release, so I don't think that it really matters if these DLCs are bangers or not. There just needs to be some new content before GTA 6 actually comes out. And maybe with a release date for GTA 6 actually announced, maybe they'll give us a little bit better stuff with these new DLCs. I mean, who knows? We don't even actually know officially if we're getting a new DLC or not, but we're going to talk about why I think that we are and what is probably going to be included within that DLC if it does actually come out, which I think it will. Now, another reason that I think this DLC is going to release is because why would they leave GTA Online in a dry spell for what will still be over a year until the release of GTA 6 at the time of recording this video? So I do definitely think there's going to be a new DLC, and we have some pointers that we're going to talk about in just a minute here as to why I think that is. But of course, feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comments on this video. Do you think a DLC is actually going to come out, or do you think that they're just going to hold out and wait for GTA 6? Let me know. I would actually be very curious to see what some of you have to say. As far as the subject of the next DLC, I think that the next one is going to revolve around what will likely be a very outdated business that was probably supposed to release into the game in, 2016 or something like that. Similar to the Garment Factory or the Bail Office from the previous two DLCs, which were both pretty horrific. I will say the Garment Factory is like miles and miles and miles better than the Bail Office. The Bail Office just completely fucking sucks. It is actually awful, but it's probably going to be really expensive to get the business up and running and have a super outdated payment model that is really hard to justify even partaking in, because it probably will not be super worth it. So I really do think that's going to be the case. I think we're going to get another Bail Office type beat or Garment Factory type beat sort of situation. I don't think that it's going to be we're not going to be getting like the Cayo Perico heist or anything like that. I mean, hell, even the Salvage Yard I think is significantly better than the Bail Office and the Garment Factory as it is, because I mean, you get access to the tow trucks, which they can pay you about $80,000 every 48 minutes plus the $24,000 in your safe for like 3 days after the fact. So it's actually not even that bad. And then with the vehicle heists, I mean, it's actually pretty good if you factor those in. And when you can claim a free vehicle as well, then it's, quite worth it, I would say. But I do think the Salvage Yard was actually a fairly decent business in comparison to, the Garment Factory and the Bail Office, like I said. So hopefully it'll be something more along the Salvage Yard line than the Garment Factory and Bail Office, but I guess we will just have to see. Now, I would suspect that alongside whatever business we get, we'll probably see a lot more cut content, storylines, and missions from the scrapped Cops and Crooks DLC that was supposed to release in the summer of 2020 that turned into the Los Santos Summer Special DLC, just devoid of anything police related because of, things that were going on in real life around that time, if you recall. Now, I'm sure everybody wants to know what I think the vehicles are going to be in this next DLC, and I think it is very likely that we will see the introduction of the Police Maverick especially given the fact that they gave us the Police Predator last year. Perhaps they'll give us the Maverick as some sort of community challenge prize like they did with the Police Predator. Now, if they don't do something like that, I'm sure that they will charge us several $1,000,000 to buy it, and it will basically be a Frogger or a Maverick that's slightly better, but not really, because it's going to cost like 6 times as much. But it will be interesting to see. I definitely do think that this is going to come out. If they hadn't released a Police Predator, I wouldn't think this would be, something that they would even toy with the idea of giving us. But I do think this is actually going to come out at some point, whether it's with this next DLC that we're going to get or the one that's going to release in December, hopefully, at least, fingers crossed, if we even get the summer one. But I do think that we're going to. I do think it's extremely likely to see the Police Maverick. And I think it's also very likely to see the Police Buffalo get introduced into the game alongside the Maverick, because it's one of the only remaining police vehicles that they could even give us in the first place, unless they wanted to make more police variants of existing vehicles like they did with the Terminus or the Cara 4x4 and stuff like that. But I do think the Police Buffalo is very likely to get introduced. And same with the FIB Buffalo, really. I think that both of those vehicles will come into the game at some point before GTA 6 releases. Now, potentially in this next DLC that's hopefully going to be coming out, or the one after that, again in December probably, I believe that the Police Granger will also be released to us as another expensive police vehicle for whatever DLC comes after this one. Because if you've noticed with the last few, they've been releasing a couple cop cars at a time for a lot of money to try to drain your bank account so that you'll hopefully buy shark cards. It might even be included in this next DLC. It really depends which one's going to be the last one, I guess, because I feel like they're just going to dump all the cut content in one of the next two, or whichever one comes last. So I think that the Police Granger is really likely to come out, like the Sheriff Granger from Blaine County and stuff like that. I think the same thing goes for the Noose Granger, and I would pretty much bet the house on this vehicle getting dropped at some point in the near future. Again, whether it's in the upcoming DLC or the one in December, I'm 90% sure this vehicle will be coming out in the near future. Now, as far as other non-police vehicles go, there are plenty that we would like as a community. The OG Honda or Acura NSX, the Trackhawk, Durango Hellcat, Ram TRX, a hardtop version of the existing Dominator GT that's in the game, as well as many other vehicles like the Mazda Miata. I think it's fairly likely that we'll end up actually getting some of the vehicles that we've been requesting for years, but I also think it's very likely that we're going to get some of the vehicles that we have seen in the GTA 6 trailers, because that way Rockstar can kind of like double dip on the work that they're doing and potentially benefit from it twice. For example, if you think about the latest GTA 6 trailer, we saw that dually Dodge-looking pickup truck with the safe behind it, where it slides out into the intersection. I think it's fairly likely that we'll see something like that get added into the game, or potentially one of the Lamborghinis or something like that that we've seen in one of the GTA 6 trailers. I could definitely see that making its way into GTA 5 just before GTA 6 releases, as kind of a way to sell the car in GTA 5, probably sell it in GTA 6, and also generate some hype for GTA 6 as well. I mean, I don't know for sure, but that is something that I could definitely speculate on and think that is probably going to happen. I do think it's probably pretty likely. Also, with this next DLC, I would bet on getting a new supercar, or maybe two. Likely one being something that absolutely nobody wants, like the overflawed Pipistrello, for example, something along that same line. And then if we do get one more, maybe one more being sort of more of a Lamborghini, maybe based off of the new Lamborghini Revuelto. Something like that, at least. I could definitely see that happening. Of course, what cars do you guys want to see added to the game with the next update? Maybe Rockstar will watch this video. Hopefully, I really doubt it. But maybe they'll see your comments and maybe they'll think about adding some vehicles into the game. So let me know in the comment section. I am, of course, curious as well, so I'd like to see that. But also, this is the reason that I do think that we are going to be getting a new DLC. So with the last DLC, Agents of Sabotage, that was added into GTA Online, a bunch of police outfits were added into the game files with the previous few updates, and none of them have been made available yet. So I think that it's very likely that we will at least see some of them in the next update to the game, which will be coming likely in June or July 2025 this summer. I think it's also very plausible to see a bunch of new random clothing added to the game as well, with the next update alongside the police related stuff. Perhaps something more like criminal related, like ski masks and things like that. But whatever does come with the new DLC, I'm sure it will be decent to some and disappointing to many. The last few DLCs haven't exactly been thrilling necessarily, so I guess we'll just have to see what happens, if anything even happens at all. This is of course all speculation, so let me know what you guys think, and let me know what you'd like to see in the next DLC, and give me your general thoughts below. But I do think, based on the simple fact that we've got those new police outfits added to the game that have not been released yet, I think it's safe to say that we are going to be getting a new DLC, because why would they add those into the game if they had no plan of releasing them at a later date? Rockstar has often done this before other DLCs have come out, so I do think that this is probably going to happen again in June or July, maybe even August, depending on how late we get it, but I do think we will be getting a new update. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it, dislike if you didn't, and consider subscribing if you guys are new. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, take care. Peace.